So as you guys hop on, say hello, where you're chiming in from. So Free Yourself Fridays, oh my gosh, it's been going on now for a few months now, every Friday, and it's basically just a topic, great. It's basically just a topic that's relevant in my life, something that I've been reading, something that I've been working on, overcoming, whatever the case may be. Wyoming! Awesome. So, it's called today's topic. So anyway, so Free Yourself, I get so distracted, you guys, sorry. Apparently, obviously, this is not an official situation here. This is just me going live on Facebook on a Friday. But I stayed consistent with it, having a lot of connections with it. And the topic, or Free Yourself in general, Free Yourself 24, came from this idea of freeing ourselves from the shackles of our own mind. You know, our thoughts create things. Our thoughts create our life, our path, our outcomes, our results. And so if we can deshackle, let go of limited beliefs, let go of fears, all those things, what more could we have out of life, you know? What's up, Brandon, out in Chicago? Super awesome to see you guys plugging on, chiming in, logging on. I don't know what you call this live thing. So, as we go into it, you guys, it's usually a time where I'm really open and vulnerable. I love to have engagement from you guys. As we get going, I'd love to hear from you guys that can type. Obviously, if you're driving, don't do that. About like, when you hear patience, what comes to mind for you? Like, what do you hear all the time about patience? What is it? What's up, Jason? Yes, from Texas. My Texas family on here today. What comes to mind when you hear patience? I can think there's one thing I hear all the time when people talk about patience. What's up, Cheyenne and Mesa? What is the line? What is it? I know you guys have some things to say. Yep, there you go, Wendy. There it is, right? Patience is a virtue. Patience is a virtue. You know, it's things that we hear so often that we hear them so often that they get watered down. Let me give you an example. People say, love you, love ya, love ya, love you, love you. Oh, girl, love you. Even on social media now, it happens so often to the point where the truth of those words, the definition of those words, right? The feeling, like what they mean, become watered down. You know, but we have to make sure that we don't allow that to happen. What's up, Tani? We gotta like really ensure that we don't let, individually, that you don't let that happen. So yeah, we hear patience is a virtue all the time, but let that sink in. Why? Why is patience a virtue? You know what? Like what do I gotta do to believe that enough to make a change in my behavior? You know? Oh boy. So, oh boy, I got that from my boyfriend. Now it's a natural thing I say. Great. What's up, Nikki? Oh, you got your girl with you. Awesome. Okay, so patience is a virtue. Got it. So, man, that word virtue, though. You know, like, it's like, that's it, but it's not that easy, right? It's not that easy. So, I really like to connect the behavior of patience and correlate it to your connection with faith. Not like religion, like having faith that what you truly desire is going to happen, right? Having faith that whatever path there is that your life is going on is going to lead you what's actually better than what you feel is happening, right? Let me move this way because the sunshine's coming in. Haha, this is what I chose to be grateful for today. Strategic timing. Yeah, patience. That's awesome. So, you know, in order to truly have patience for things in your life, you have to have faith that they're possible. It's also really correlated to belief. That word belief, that word faith, you know, those things are taken so lightly. They're so watered down. But if you truly are someone that practices the belief in the possibilities of what you truly desire, or the faith that it may not seem like it's going down the path that you want, but it's going to lead to something even better, right? And so what does that take? That takes patience. Like, and we're in this world today of everything is right now. I heard a PD on patience the other day, and it said, don't put God's timing, like, don't correlate that with Amazon. Like, if I don't get it in 2 days, I quit on you. I'm not ordering it. I'm not sticking with this, right? I'm not doing it. Like, we can't. And we're so used to, like, we want to get a hold of someone right now. The cell phones came about, right? And before it was like, instant messaging and, all these different things. And so it's like, we're in this world of convenience, right? Drive-thrus everywhere now. Like, and really at the end of the day, we're forcing things to come about, right? We're forcing ourselves to, just take the drive-thru example. Because you don't want to cook, because it might take too long or may take too much energy, right? You're going through a convenient drive-thru. But that convenient drive-thru is not just speeding up time, it's sacrificing health, right? So anytime we force something to happen before it's supposed to happen in its right way, it's going to turn into a sacrifice. It's going to turn into a sabotage, right? So we talked about how it correlates to faith. The sun is like, no sun. Okay, so how it correlates to faith, how it correlates to trust, how it correlates to belief, right? Also, it kind of correlates to loyalty. So if you think about it, whatever it is that you believe in, whether it's God, your source, universe, whatever that looks like for you, some sort of higher being that you have a faith in, right? If you've got this connection with God, your higher being, source, universe, whatever, and you have enough understanding to believe or have faith, right, that they are guiding you down the right path, that things will happen the right way for you, the best way for you, not right as in how you define it, but the best way for you, right, which you may not know what that looks like. So having that faith is important. Now, if you've got this belief, right? So I believe in God. I have faith in God. I have faith that my path has absolutely taken me to better places than I thought I should have been or should have been doing or whatever. And so if I have that much belief, if you say you have that much belief, then you deciding to not exercise patience actually shows a characteristic of disloyalty to your higher source. So now you get to reflect on your character. Am I a person that trusts easy? Do I operate out of limited beliefs and doubts anytime I do something or want something or go for something? Or do I operate out of belief? Right? Am I a person that's loyal to those that I care about? To those that would assume that I'm loyal to? Like, am I truly loyal? So it's one of those things where it's like, if God or Source Almighty, right? Like, if you don't have loyalty to that, you can't exercise patience in that. There's some assessing in your character that you got to do and that's now like creating your behavior also around patience. You don't trust that it's going to happen, so now you want to force it to happen, or you're going to quit. Let me tell you about quitting. There's two ways if you're exercising, like not having patience, right? So you're going the opposite route. You don't have patience on anything in your life. You got to have it now. You got to get through the drive-through, like whatever is the sacrifice, whatever is the expense. Like you'd rather take the risk versus have the belief, okay? So there's two ways. One, when you don't have patience, there's one way that looks, and that looks like quitting. Listen. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're passionate about something, if you have a purpose, if you love doing something, if you want something so bad, whatever the case may be, as long as you believe in it, you'll continue to take the steps towards having that outcome come to reality one day, right? As soon as you quit, you eliminate all possibility. Because once you quit, that means you have a disbelief. And if you have a disbelief, you're going to start taking steps in the opposite direction. And a lot of times there's things that we love to do, our purpose, our passion, and if we really are connected to that, a lot of times it's a big thing. It's not going to happen overnight, right? It's a big accomplishment. It's a big purpose. It's a thing that's going to take some time. And if it's that big, why would you quit and eliminate all possibility? When it comes to your promise, your purpose, your passion, there really doesn't need to be a deadline. Because at the end of the day, that euphoric feeling that you get when you're either accomplishing steps to make it happen or when you get there, it's worth it all the way down to the end of your life. Because it's something you enjoy doing anyway. It's something that your soul, your heart, your truth, everything is connected to. So it's not like it sucks. You'd rather do that anyway. But sometimes our belief and our doubts will take such a hold on our thoughts, shackles, right? That we quit. We don't have the patience. And again, if you don't have the patience, that means you're operating out of disbelief a lot of times. And we don't really recognize that. Or just impatience. And we'll talk about that, how that just is the world that we're in today. So therefore, we naturally respond in that way too with our behavior. But quitting eliminates all possibilities, you guys. So for me, it's like, if I'm looking for a certain level of impact to derive from my purpose, from my business, from what it is that I know I want to do, like a lot of people see what I do. They know I get people results. I sell incredible products. I help with nutrition. I help with women's empowerment. I run workouts. I teach yoga. I do workshops. But the pieces that go all together and the impact that that's given to others, like the real big piece about that is people are becoming entrepreneurs in their own passions and their own purpose. People on my team aren't running workshops, but some of them own smoothie bars, right? And what does that do? That makes an impact on positivity and nutrition and health in the community. So the big purpose around what I do in my business isn't the little things. And so the thing that I'm waiting for is bigger. It's bigger than what I could do in a day's time, in a week's time, in a month's time. So with that being said, if I gotta wait till my last day on this earth to feel that euphoric feeling of seeing that purpose truly come to fruition, it's worth it. Because I want to do what I love to do along the way anyway. But man, that thing called failure, if something doesn't happen exactly how we're supposed to, now we're judging ourselves. Because we didn't make it happen. Maybe it wasn't supposed to happen yet. Like your obstacles are on purpose to grow you, so you learn the lesson to strengthen you, to tackle the next obstacle, to rise you closer or get you closer or rise you higher towards what it is you're trying to accomplish anyway, right? So patience is a virtue. Why? Because it's like, that's the core. You got to have patience in all that you want to do for anything that you really want out of life. That you really want out of life. It's getting hot in here, y'all. Anyway, so let's look at the other route. So what if you don't have patience, and so it's not quitting now, it's forcing. It's forcing. So when you start to like force things to happen before they're supposed to happen, it's just self-sabotage. You're just sabotaging the entire situation because it's happening, not its God-given way, right? It's source-given way. It's not happening how it really should for the longevity of having it or succeeding or whatever the thing, the promise, the object, the purpose, right? And a lot of times if you listen to sermons and things like that, they'll talk about it. They'll talk about patience connected to promise, you know? Like there's a lot of different stories in the Bible where it's like, if you would have just waited a couple more hours, you would have had your promise. But instead, you had your last day on earth, right? So it's like patience is a virtue. Like there's an example, you know? So whatever you want to connect it to what you want to accomplish, what you want to do, your purpose, your passion, your promise. If you're trying to force that to happen, you will sabotage the situation. You'll usually create the opposite of that. Like what you're fearful of happening if you don't have patience. Like if I don't have patience in this situation, or I can't wait for this situation, I'm just going to make it happen so that I avoid X, Y, and Z. Let's say, for example, I can't wait for this to happen. It has to happen today. I can't wait for it to happen a month from today, right? So you force it to happen, everything goes wrong, and now you never have it. Or let's say now you have it a few years from today. It's literally sabotage. And another like thought process around patience that we've got to really like own in order to practice it is really this idea of assuming positive intent. Whether it's positive intent with a person, positive intent with a career, you know, a boss, a path, positive intent with God, source. Like you got to assume that the intention of your path, the intention of where you're at today, the intention of the obstacle, the intention of the challenge, the intention of the success is positive intent. It's positive. Like it's taking you towards what you really want. Because if you're, you know, we talk about this a lot on Free Yourself, thought process, controlling your thoughts. If you're managing to think about the things you want more often than thinking about the things you don't want. So if you've gotten to the point where you focus more on what you have, your gratitude, what you desire, and you back that with the belief that it's possible, if that's where your thought process is, then you really can grasp on this idea of positive intent. Like I'm headed in the right direction. No matter what it looks like right now, it's still getting me towards what I want because that's what I'm focusing on. That's that loyalty to your source. Like I'm not going to try to force this thing and I'm not going to quit on you because I'm loyal to what I believe in. I'm loyal to you. And if you exercise that, you will find yourself being more loyal to the people in your life. Right? So let's just take, for example, I said I was going to talk about a conversation that I had. So I teach yoga, and in the yoga class, there's meditation. And, you know, I've been practicing yoga and meditation now for over 10 years. So I can tell you this. I'm not advanced in yoga. I've almost through making sure I am actually growing my patience. That's one thing that yoga taught me. I don't force myself to go anywhere, or even if I'm in a class that's a little higher level, I will stay back at the more intermediate pose. Because I'm actually exercising, not forcing myself to think that I have to be the athlete best or perfect in the pose or be able to do everything. Because it's not about the definition of being able to do everything. It's about what's the perfect pose for what I need today. Right? So although I've been practicing that for yoga for 10 years, I would still say I'm right here and I'm good right here at intermediate, right? But I teach because I want to teach people who haven't had the experience that they can have the experience, the journey, not the class. And so meditation as well. Over 10 years, I still struggle with clearing my mind completely in meditation. It is not yoga as a practice and meditation as a practice teaches patience so much because there is no deadline of perfection. There is no arriving. Some days you're going to be great at the poses, and some day your body's going to be super fatigued and you're going to just need to lay there. Some days you're going to be able to clear your mind instantly, and some days you're not. You know when you'll never clear your mind though? When you'll never learn how to meditate? When you quit trying. When you stop practicing. You eliminate all possibility to learn it. You eliminate all possibility to clear your mind. And at the end of the day, if you lay there and you try and you get 2 seconds of clarity and you never get it again, that's 2 seconds more clarity than you would have ever gotten by quitting. In this example alone, since when do we ever just lay in silence and try to clear our mind? Even the attempt takes you way further than what quitting would do. Quitting just puts you into chaos all over again, making everybody else more important than you. So that's an example of having patience to know that your practice, that your steps, that your journey is exactly what it's supposed to be. And as long as you believe in that, you'll keep taking the steps towards what you want. And you know what's really cool about that is that you'll have little milestones along the way. You'll have little revelations of, wow, staying loyal to my belief and my faith in my higher source has shown me that I feel better, has shown me that what's possible. So now you build more confidence, you build more belief, you have even more faith. But if you quit, you sabotage the idea of possibility altogether. So let's talk about it in a example with like relationships, whether it's like your boss, whether it's a significant other, whether it's even like a family member, you know, whatever type of relationship. And, you know, something happens or you notice something. I can't even think of a specific situation, but we'll, you know, play along with it. Maybe you can apply it. Maybe you're supposed to apply your own situation right now. But let's say you saw your boss, you know, talking to someone else about a leadership position, you know, or you saw your significant other doing something that you wanted them to do, but they didn't do it with you, you know, whatever, right? Like in those types of situations, like it could easily be like, as the employee, like, I've been talking to my boss about this leadership position for so long, or a promotion for so long. She's been mentoring me, she's been working with me, or he's been mentoring me, he's been working with me, but now I see and overhear them talking to somebody else about a leadership position. Now, not having patience would be you pull them in an office, and you start having a conversation assuming that the path that you're supposed to be going on, right, is going the wrong direction. And it turns into you showing up as a negative character or frustration. Maybe you come in with anger, and that's all what? Assuming negative intent. That's not assuming positive intent. You could also have the thought of maybe there's multiple opportunities. And let's say in this situation, there's a leadership position in one department and there's a leadership position in another department. And your boss is actually looking to give you the opportunity that's higher, but then you just showed up because you don't have patience to just see what happens and you react. Now you're showing up not like the leader that they want to hire anyway. Now you sabotage the situation because you're forcing the conversation or you're forcing the situation based on an assumption, right? Same thing could happen in the relationship. Maybe you see them doing something that you've always asked them to do, right? And they don't realize it. And then all of a sudden you like, what the heck? I've been wanting to do that, blah, 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 right? Whatever. But if you would have just waited, maybe a day, maybe a couple hours, maybe a couple minutes, whatever, and they actually did it for you anyway. And they surprised you with it. Or there was a plan. Our patience, our lack of patience, our lack of assuming positive intent, our lack of trust, and maybe that leadership position was the one that they offered to someone else and there wasn't one for you. But can you have faith in your path in knowing that that was probably not the one for you really though? Because it wouldn't have ended up being a great situation. You know, so it's, you know, patience is going to help you practice this idea of faith. You know, this idea of trusting your process, trusting your journey. We talk about it a lot in, you know, weight loss, weight gain, getting healthy, whatever. It's not overnight. You didn't gain the weight overnight. You just were oblivious to the outcome, didn't really care, had patience in that, right? So, and then all of a sudden when you become aware, you're like, what the heck, this has got to go. And now you don't have patience for it to go. So patience is a virtue. I just don't know if we've really broke it down the way we need to break it down and understand it and apply it and then see the other characteristics that drive our behavior around being patient or not being patient. Belief, faith, trust, loyalty. You know, if you've got that down, if you trust your process, you're working on your faith with your higher source, you're knowing that no matter what it looks like right now, you're being guided, you're being shown. And if you have patience, you'll get closer to what you want. You'll get your promise if you have patience. You'll get your promise if you have patience. But when you quit or when you force it, you're sabotaging it and you're eliminating all opportunities and all possibilities. So what in your life do you really want, but you lost patience on too quick? This idea of meditation. Oh, I went a few times and I felt really relaxed, but the last time I went, my mind didn't get clear. And so I just was done with it because I guess I only had it for a couple times and now I'm never going to have it again. You're right. Because you quit, you're never going to have it again. Not because you keep going. So that's all I have for you guys inside of patience. And it being a virtue truly because it gives you your promise. You know, the price of your promise is patience. The price of your promise is patience. Are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to pay the price? You know? So if you have it in your heart, you feel like someone in your life needed to hear this, if you feel like someone in your life, will benefit from this, you can share it on your page, of course. You can tag them on here if you don't want the video on your page. I don't really care. I just want to make sure a message gets to whoever it needs to get to. And hopefully this was powerful for you. I'd love to hear you guys' shares. Comment below what was most impactful for you. One thing that I didn't mention, because in the workshop we're talking about letting go. And what's awesome about letting go of fear, of anger, of past pain, past hurt, is that you got to have patience in the process of letting go. You've been holding on to it for a really long time. So letting go of it, again, is not going to happen overnight, just like we're not going to lose weight overnight, right? Get our body back overnight. But avoid judgment. As you have patience, don't judge yourself because you're not letting things go. Don't judge yourself because you're not able to get a clear mind in meditation. Don't judge yourself because you're not getting in the right pose for yoga. Really allow yourself to be patient through a process. And true patience means that you're not bringing negative emotion inside of your waiting, because that's just going to drive your behavior to short fuse quicker, right? Force it or quit quicker, you know? So make sure that you're removing judgment out of your journey so that you can be patient peacefully, if that makes sense. So anyway, I'm off of it. Peace out, y'all. Appreciate you chiming in. Thanks for the words. Thanks for the love. Thanks for sharing this with other people in your life. And I'll see you next week.